start streaming. Now I need to actually activate the thing. Or it activates itself. Fine, that works too.
Whatever works, Morgan.
I mean...
Hey, it's got a mind of its own tonight, huh?
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
A mind of its own that's going to make me lose mine.
Right.
Copy link address.
Alrighty.
Okay, sent it to there. That's the link. I sent it in the chat.
I got you.
And we'll wait for a few people here, and we'll get underway. Fragalaka.
So where are you posting the live to, Morgan? That's on.
We're on YouTube.
That's gonna be on. Oh, on YouTube. On YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. So that link that he just sent is a YouTube.
Oh.
I'm gonna say, come join us on YouTube.
Right. You mean when somebody said I just sent a link, they were actually sending a link? Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's in
What
the
did
chat.
you think?
That's
my question. I don't know.
Okay,
What it's...
All right, Greg.
Oh man. I'm gonna say, come join us on YouTube. Super Bowl Sunday snowstorm.
Come join us on. Never mind.
Model madness.
Model Madness. Super Bowl
Again.
Goofy
Sunday
forecasting
snow.
system, because I can't say the other one on live stream.
Uh-uh.
At least not on this channel.
All right.
On the other one,
Come
I
join
can if
us
I
on
want
YouTube. Super Bowl snowstorm.
to. Mm-hmm.
Model
Goofy.
Madness.
Goofy system.
Model Madness again.
Again, only like the
Dot,
third
dot, dot.
time this week.
Nor'easter. It's going to be a nor'easter, correct?
Oh yeah, it'll
It's
end up
from-
being one for sure.
Yeah.
It's just gonna depend.
Again, that's what I'm gonna say.
Just depends on where that.
Where
low is.
the band of precipitation hits, yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, I'm sharing that right now. It's my story as well.
All right. Well, with
Okay,
that
so you're on
being
my
said-
page and my profile both.
Cool. I got it for the story and the news feed. Sent the link.
All right.
And it is
Well,
loading. We're doing something.
I'm somewhat low in my chair, so I'll get up a little bit. But I think with that being said, and with Pivotal Weather nearly having a stroke, welcome to a United Weather Network podcast on the potential winter storm that could impact the Mid-Atlantic region coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. My name is Morgan J. Fold. Kyle, that's Jay in the middle. He's a new member. He's going to be joining us this evening. And Josh just appeared. I can't speak already. Josh right at the bottom. And this evening, we have another winter storm to discuss that could impact the same region that was impacted by the strong winter storm last week. The impacts of this one are set to be a little bit different, considering considering what is expected in terms of the speed of this thing, as it's moving much faster than the one that impacted the region last weekend. Mm-hmm. However, impacts are still going to be quite significant, so we will get into all that this evening. So welcome in. Appreciate you joining us this evening for what is our third, I think. Yeah, our third.
I believe
This is
so.
Excuse me. So I'm not going to delay. We're going to get into this thing.
Morgan, let's
yeah.
turn it over to Jay.
Oh yeah.
Let him.
Yeah, I'll let him introduce himself. And then after that, we can get underway with whatever we have to talk about this evening.
While you're still falling out up there in northern New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, everybody. My name's JJ Shaw. I live in Creston, British Columbia, Canada, which is just about a 2 hours by car west of the Kicking Horse Pass in the Rocky Mountains. Just 10 minutes from the border north of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I live in sort of like a banana belt region, heavy precipitation area, but fairly moderate temperatures. We get 5 to 6 feet of snow a year, but most of it is usually melted within a week. So it's 50% green, 50% winter. I live fairly close to where the weather anomaly called a Chinook, one of the convergences that the Chinook has with the Rocky Mountains at the Kicking Horse Pass, which leads to Alberta Clippers, commonly called Alberta Clippers, and Saskatchewan Schooners. Heavy winds there, lots of hail events in the southern Alberta area there where I'm from originally, and down towards Lethbridge where you get the really sustained massive windstorms that end up spilling out down to the Midwest and carrying. It's a what I think the interaction that the Chinook has in the United States is that Chinook is actually when the Santa Ana wind goes all the way up the coast from California, it converges with the Japanese current around Vancouver Island. It's pushed inland like a 300-mile wide wall of wind, hits the Rockies, funnels through the Rockies at only 3 places. So it's that massive wall of wind that's coming out of there like pressurized because it's coming through a small area, and it's all really warm wind. It'll melt in Calgary, southern Alberta. It'll melt 11 inches of snow in 4 hours, and when that goes out across the prairies, and then that meets with potential cold fronts from the Atlantic region and from the Great Lakes region, and that can create a lot of big storm activity in the Midwest. So that's where a lot of that's coming from, and it also can mix with some polar weather anomalies from the north, as we're it's Canada, so we're part of Canada is Arctic, so we get a lot of that polar stuff comes through here. So those are the weather patterns that I'm familiar with, and I in southern Alberta, a lot of people are chasing down there because there's a lot of tornado events, not a lot of touchdowns, not a lot of big ones, but it's still something that people are doing. My friend Breathin' Heathen down in Lethbridge sees a lot more of that than most people do. So it's an interesting weather place here, and I'm really I really got interested in your guys' project a couple days ago. I just noticed it, and I thought, wow, it's really cool that people are getting together to do the meteorology thing outside of the confines of the established system, and that's it's really interesting storm chasing to me. So I wanted to check you guys out and met up with Greg, and then here I am. So I'm really glad to be here, and thanks for the hospitality.
We're pleased to have you
I
on the
appreciate
team
it.
here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
I
Welcome
can speak
aboard. We're glad to have you on.
Can
on
speak
board
for
with us.
all of us here is we don't really have a lot of people that are up where you are in your neck of the woods, so it's very important that we actually do have someone up there that can get that ground-based coverage up there, especially considering the interesting patterns that you guys get all around. So welcome to the team.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we're going to get into this. There's a little bit, not as much to discuss with this as there was last week. Last week was an entire different beast. But with this winter storm, there are some pretty significant snowfall totals forecast, particularly for areas of the mid-Atlantic, so like the Delmarva, and then potentially even up towards Cape Cod, where the storm really bombs out and intensifies. So there's really going to be the most significant impacts around there, and you're really going to need to watch out in those areas. First off, I'm going to look at temperatures. So this is going into Sunday. This is supposed to really impact the region for most of the day on Sunday. This is not a multi-day thing because of how fast the low is moving. It's really just going to impact the region from about Sunday morning 7 a.m. is what I was seeing for most areas, and it'll be out by about 4 p.m. That's both Eastern Standard Time. So if we're taking a look at this, really the only area that stays consistently above freezing is a little area in northern New Jersey up here. That's really going to be to the north and west of the low. It's really going to be out of the main, I don't want to say the main impact area, but it's going to be out of the heaviest snowfall, where there could be the most damaging winds. So really, where it stays the coldest, it's going to be pretty, it's just going to be pretty cold up there. And with that being said, the temperature gradient, again, is going to be a big factor here. So this storm supports a very high amount of snowfall over a pretty narrow corridor going up and down from Virginia all the way up to southern Connecticut, Rhode Island. Where the temperature gradient can stay below freezing is which areas will get the most snowfall. So, like I said, areas of northern New Jersey may stay below freezing, but may not get, well, let me rephrase that. Because they stay below freezing, even if they don't get the most amount of snowfall in the entirety of the storm, they may end up with the most on the ground because of how it accumulates. So it's going to be something to keep in mind. If you're not in the heaviest snowfall areas, you may not be quite out of it. You may be the strongest impacted. So you can see the low pressure circling around an area over the Atlantic Ocean right about here as it comes up. You can see temperatures in the lower 30s around here, but not quite below freezing as you get towards southern Jersey, Delaware, and stuff like that. The storm really does appear to be a snow and rain thing, really not as much mix as what we expect, as what we had seen, rather, with the storm that came up prior. That was last weekend.
Right.
The one last weekend had ice in it, disrupted travel, etc. It was just a big mess in general, but that's really not how we're going to end up seeing it with this one. It's really going to be snow and rain depending on where you sit in the temperature gradient.
Hey, Morgan, I'm going to say something real quick, but at the end of this one, we'll probably see another likely black ice event because temperatures will plummet to about 16 degrees down here in, as far as Sussex County, Delaware. So we're going from about 33, 34 to a matter of 16 within 6 hours. After all that, whatever it may be, either rain or snow, it's going to get very cold after the system moves through, and we should see a flash freeze.
And I will drop back to this really quickly. I'll drop back to the temperatures on the NAM 12 kilometer, which goes out a little bit further. You can see how temperatures, particularly along the coast, in areas of Delaware, southern Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, stay around freezing most of the time, but slightly above. And then as the low moves out, right down into the low 20s and even teens. So that's really going to be a big threat for travel. People driving around in these areas are going to need to take extra precaution, particularly on the Monday morning commute. It's going to be very dangerous. I'm going to shift over to snowfall totals, what we can actually expect on the ground for some regions. Again, this is a fast-moving storm, so snowfall rates, if you're actually in the heaviest areas of snowfall, will likely end up being towards whiteout conditions per the eye. Like the human eye. I'm not talking about the eye of the storm. And as you can see, as it goes off towards the north and east, heavier snowfall ranging closer to the center of the storm. So the temperature gradient sitting right along the snow line here, extending all the way through Delaware and into Maryland and Virginia right there. So you're going to expect the heaviest snowfall north of the line and about here. And as you can see, that is really what we're expecting. You can see snowfall totals anywhere from 9, 10, 11, even upwards of 12 inches as you get towards South Jersey. And these are the same areas that were impacted by over 1.5 feet of snow last week on Monday. So this is just going to start piling up. It's going to make for a very hazardous traveling experience, and areas in this region are going to have to take serious precautions. As it moves off towards Cape Cod, you guys can actually see the snowfall increases as well with the low pressure deepening. So as it moves off towards the north and east, you can see over 1 foot of snow in some areas near Cape Cod, Rhode Island, and then as it pushes off, starts to impact towards Nova Scotia. But Nova Scotia isn't in this shot because that's not what we have the ability to look at with the North American model.
They'll get winds out there too around.
Oh yeah, as the low deepens, that's another thing to take note of, the winds, and I will just drop over to these really quickly. Winds are not as much of a threat with this as they were with the storm on Monday. you're going to see me making frequent comparisons to the storm that was at the beginning of last week. But as you can see in terms of winds, they actually uptrended a bit. So up and along the east coast of New Jersey, you can see anywhere from 35 to 45, and locally even higher up and along coastal areas of Atlantic Ocean, and then up by Burlington, stuff like that. You can see areas 40 miles an hour in general, but areas like Delaware and Maryland could see 40, 45 pretty consistently as the storm deepens. And then, of course, as it moves off towards Nantucket and Cape Cod, very gusty winds, potentially up to 55, maybe even 60 miles an hour. And then as it pushes off, you can see it gets even gustier towards the center of the storm, 60 to 61. And then as it drops back, you can see some gustier winds impacting the region shortly after it moves out, with the temperatures being dragged back. So again, this will be for the Monday morning commute. Wind chills are going to be very, very cold. And if you have unprotected skin going out to the the Monday morning commute, you could experience frost snip or some sort of, I'm speaking from experience, some sort of swelling in unprotected areas of skin. So that is something to keep in mind for the Monday morning commute. Gusty winds to impact the region could make it very dangerous.
Right. Let me interrupt you there. That would be offshore flow of winds. Monday.
Yeah.
Onshore flow?
Offshore.
So
yeah, it's moving. It's moving away from the coast. It's moving.
Oh,
towards the
right.
coast
So it's gonna be
and
moving
off,
from. Yeah, the winds will be out of the northwest. Very cold.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the wind chills, taking into account everything, even though these areas are going to be above freezing surface temperatures, you can see definitely below freezing when you factor in the 30 to 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts potentially. Then as that drags out for your Monday morning commute, you can see wind chills, down into the single digits, and then potentially even up by Scranton, and potentially even Binghamton, negative single digits. So negative single digits for wind chills. That is not surface temperatures, that is for wind chills, but still very dangerous. So
I was gonna say we didn't even check out the tides for that. Do we think we have a high tide along the central and southern Jersey coast during those northeast winds?
I can check that,
because that's going to determine coastal flooding risks right there.
Sunday's the 7th,
it looks to be a very Sunday will be the 7th. Yeah, Monday will be the 8th. Looks to be a very chilly Monday morning, though. Very frigid.
Well, that Monday, that's going to be an offshore flow wind
out of the northwest.
Yeah,
coming from central portions of Pennsylvania and Maryland on the other side there to the bay.
I don't think it would be a coastal problem. It might be the Sunday.
It'd be
taking a little longer than expected. Give me a second.
Sunday during the midday, I guess, for the strongest winds. Maybe towards the evening more.
Yeah, Sunday evening.
I'd say Sunday evening. Yeah, that's the high tide you got to worry about. So
Atlantic City high tide for the 7th. High tide would occur. So on Sunday the 7th, high tide's at 3:30 a.m. and then at 4 p.m. Low tide would be at 10 a.m.
So that's probably going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's going to be a slight problem, but not as much as the longer impacts of the storm were on Monday.
Just like last weekend, because that was a 3-day event of northeast winds occurring in one spot for a long duration event. That's why we had moderate coastal flooding there.
And I'll check the Delaware coastline too.
Cool. Thank you. But yeah, for sure, it's going to be very chilly Monday morning after this. So any kind of precipitation that does happen is going to freeze over right away within 3 hours or less. The way those temperatures move in.
Yeah, as the temperatures move in, they drop towards 20. So Won't
That'll
take
be-
long at all.
Yeah, flash freeze.
That's gonna
for
yeah,
sure.
that's gonna be a flash freeze. It ain't gonna take 3 hours.
Nah, probably
Kyle, where
less than an hour, maybe.
Kyle, where are you close to in terms of coastal area?
See that like little bay that's right on
Name.
Delaware on the southern portion.
Name.
Let's say Millsboro, Delaware is where I'm at. I'm right along the Indian River Bay, about 2 miles down the road from me to my south.
Indian River Inlet.
Indian River Inlet, yeah, that's out on the water there. But yep, that's where
High
all the water
tide
comes
at 5 a.m. Sunday, low tide at 11 a.m., and then high tide at 5 p.m. So that's going to miss most of the impacts of the storm, however, as it moves out.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, there could be high tide to take note of. The high tide's at
Okay.
6 a.m. Monday, so that might also be something to keep in mind. I'm going to move down a little bit.
I just know I ain't got to worry about that down here in Alabama.
Right. Well, along the Gulf Shore you would if you lived down there, but you're a little more inland.
Yeah, Florida
Oh, yeah.
has a severe risk associated with this, with the cold
Yeah.
front extending south. So
Yes.
we'll also do a little segment on that as well. Greg asked if we could take a look at the Northeast here. So what I will actually try and do at the very least, is see if I'll just do the Northeast. I was gonna see if there was anything for Nova Scotia or something like that, because that might be a little bit more helpful. But we can just take a look here. So as it moves off towards the north and east, you can see snow extending all the way up into Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. And then the low deepening down to 987. Definitely
Yeah,
going
Nova
to get
Scotia
stronger.
definitely get something up there.
Yeah, Nova Scotia is going to be dealing with some very gusty winds.
Impacts. Mhm.
To be expected up there.
I was gonna say winds definitely on the outer shores of Maine right there
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
will be definitely picking up.
And also, I wanted to mention this storm. If it goes about 50 miles to the south, we're getting slammed down here in Sussex with the higher totals. If it
Oh,
goes
yeah.
a little bit more to the north, then you're going to see it up around Philadelphia and northern parts of Jersey, central Jersey again.
But
It depends where it comes off. Josh and I thought it might come off a little bit around the Cape Hatteras, a little bit north of there.
yeah, that's what we was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's what
So-
we're going over.
So talking about that, I'll actually zoom out towards the national standpoint on everything here, and what we
So
can
you can see
expect
that
from
ridge
this.
of where.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what we can
You'll be
expect
able
from
to
this,
see
you
them.
see the ridge occurring in the Rockies. It drops down towards Texas. Then watch as it travels over through the Tennessee Valley as my pivotal weather decides to take its sweet time. And then it drops off the coast and starts to strengthen as it gets about towards
Right there.
Hatteras.
Yep.
Potentially even down by Savannah, it might eject from the coastline.
Wow, that's further down than expected, really.
Yeah.
But it goes up
Granted-
on the sharp northeastern. Mhm.
Granted, the models have been trending this further north as of late, which is why these impacts are just coming to everyone now. There wasn't really any expectation, particularly by me, for anything to happen, but here I am. So you can definitely take note of the winds and the stronger part of the system actually being on the southeast side of it. Going to be a definite threat for Nova Scotia as it gets off towards that area with potentially 40, 50, maybe even 60 knot winds, depending on how strong the center of low pressure gets. And as you can see, 984.
Which model are you?
This is the
Which
NAM
model?
12K.
Run the Canadian model.
Oh Lord. So I might actually be able to get a regional sector.
Should be able to.
Spinning wheel of doom.
Uh-huh.
it also maybe eastern Canada. That'll do actually. So with time
there's
going
Nova Scotia right
along,
there.
take note of the cheese. So
There you go, right
note
there.
how the storm
Wow.
rapidly intensifies as it drifts just south of the Nova Scotia coastline, particularly
it's gonna
down
bomb
by
out up there.
Halifax. You're going to be dealing with some very strong impacts up and around that area. In fact, I will freeze frame on hour 66 because that seems to be one of the main points to take note
The goodie
of.
zone.
Big center of low pressure. Northwestern side of the storm on this model is very strong, and the onshore winds you can notice up and around central Nova Scotia, and then going south as you get towards the southwestern end of the area. Generally, 10 to 15 knot winds ashore. As you get towards the coastline, obviously it's going to be a fair bit stronger.
Oh yeah.
That's wind gusts, actually. That was wind, rather. So that's just wind in itself.
That's just
and then wind
sustained
gusts,
winds.
you
Right.
can see getting 50, 60, even 70 kilometers an hour.
Along the coast, maybe 80.
Along the coast, 90 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing, yeah. Some areas,
But
if you
you're
drift,
also at 12. You're also at 12 km, right?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So areas that look to be receiving the winds moving ashore, obviously, are going to be a fair bit stronger. So if you are in the area that are going to be impacted by winds moving ashore, you're going to be dealing with 100 kilometer wind gusts potentially by the coast. As you drift towards the southwestern area, you could be dealing with 70, 80 knots. That's actually incorrect. 70 to 80 kilometers an hour wind gusts as the winds move offshore. I believe at this point we can turn it over to the HRRR and we can take a look at the potential severe setup for tomorrow in Florida.
Yep.
For the record, if any
Florida.
three of you have anything to say when I get this up, by all means.
Oh, believe me, I will.
Also monitoring chat if y'all have any
Florida.
questions. I can't work a computer today. That's great.
It's unfortunate.
I get a 3-hour
Yeah, you're
nap
doing
and that
good, man.
apparently did nothing. So,
Mine didn't either.
so as we look towards tomorrow, you can see storm initiation
Oh,
off
wow.
the coast in explosive manner. As the front pushes towards the coast.
Gainesville, look out.
Excuse me. You can see supercells that look to be actually a hail threat moving towards Gainesville and then eventually off towards Jacksonville. You can see
St. Augustine,
very
Jacksonville.
strong cores, particularly south of Gainesville,
Oh, yeah.
north of Tampa, in the bend of
And then-
Florida.
And then they start to kind of break up as they move across the peninsula there.
Mhm. Very
So-
organized as it comes into the Great Bend Coast, though.
Right
Yeah.
there, that's when it looks tornadic.
You might have a slight water spout threat.
come in-
What's
comes
that?
in.
Risks tomorrow as
Get the word.
follows are 255, 2 Tor 5, wind 5, hail, all level 1 threats issued by the Storm Prediction Center.
Mhm.
And they can definitely warn each. As you can see, some of the cores of these strongs are strongs.
Oh,
Some of the
yeah.
cores of these strongs are very storm as they move off towards the Jacksonville area, particularly south of Gainesville, like we said. If we take a look at the convective available potential energy, once my slow behind
AKA
gets
the
to it.
Cape.
Yep. I'll start back here.
So when you hear us talking about Cape, that means convective available potential energy. That's how much a storm can draw from the atmosphere and humidity and also shear that's in the area.
So
what we go
as
off
the
of when
storms
we
move
predict
off, it
severe.
does not appear that there is much cape at all for this event. This seems to
Mm-mm.
be influenced by shear, hence the
A low cape,
very
shear,
poor
high shear.
soundings. Hence the very poor soundings that I was getting
Uh,
earlier when I tried to read from the storm.
What's the helicity looking like on that?
Oh.
Vorticity, helicity.
So if we come over here to the storm relative helicity, just had to look at something on the
It's
side.
got good
Got
buoyancy.
something in there.
Yeah, there is definitely up to 300 helicity in some areas. That's earlier in the day. As you get towards the middle of the day, it definitely gets stronger, as you can even
Oh,
see
wow,
the
yeah.
storms offshore
There you go.
on helicity values, the smaller dots. Then as they move ashore, the helicity values start to spike in some regions. So anywhere
Skyrocket.
it looks like up to 500 1 kilometer helicity. So that's closer to the surface, meaning that there is a lot of available energy, which there typically is with these low pressure cold front systems. It's usually, and particularly it's February, there's usually a lot of helicity, good amount of shear, not a lot of cape.
Yeah.
So
Low
you can
cape,
see,
low cape, high shear.
That's what we call them.
so you
That's
can
what
see
happens in the South.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
you can-
happened with Fultondale too, isn't it?
Yeah,
They barely had any shear down there.
yeah,
they barely
it
had
had
any cape. I mean, so they
it
had
had
shear.
like 1,500 cape, I
55,
believe,
Yeah.
something like that.
I don't.
A
I don't
little
even
lower
think
than
it was-
that, I thought. I think it was
yeah.
like 900.
Yeah, I was about to say it was like 900. Yeah.
I can pull up radar data from it, but I believe my surface observation place file that I have for GR2 analysts said I think 1,700 most unstable cape.
True.
So that's closer to the surface. That's really what's going to
So you
be
got
the
you
lift
got
for
max
storms.
layer, most unstable, which is ML, or I'm sorry, MU, and then ML is max layer cape, or mixed layer cape, right?
Yeah, mixed layer.
Mixed layer, yeah. And then you have most unstable particle is what we look at as well.
Oh yeah. So once bulk shear loads, we can take a look at that as well. I'm having a fantastic day today.
I know.
Lord. So as my pivotal weather takes a year and a day to load, can see shear values
about
off
right.
the coast increasing with time, and particularly then as storms start to blow up, you can see the shear get up into, particularly the 1 kilometer shear, get up into the 40s and 50s. Areas of central
right along
Florida.
that Big Bend coast is where it's going to be.
Right along that Big Bend coast, and the storms are going to spike the potential thermos for these as well. So the storms are going to help the thermos themselves. They're really going to push along the cold front in this case. With this being said as well, there is the potential for an upgrade in severe probabilities tomorrow. It would likely be in the wind category due to the shear. Depending on if they can figure out if the storm initiation is going to be widespread enough that could warrant some sort of higher risk probabilities, then they might find a need to upgrade it. So we will monitor this as it goes through the day tomorrow. Of course, you can monitor our Facebook page for updates about any potential severe weather situation that could be going on tomorrow.
They'll probably put a meso scale discussion about it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can say 100% of that, but we'll see what the watch issuance is on it.
And particularly with these coastal marginals, they don't really like to pull the trigger on the watches unless it was something like the Fultondale environment, in which it actually looked shear rich and helicity rich.
Facts.
They actually found a warrant for it. Josh, Kyle, Jay, if you guys have anything else to say, I'll turn it over to you. But otherwise, if we don't have anything else, we won't keep you all here. But three of you guys, I'll turn it over to you guys.
I was gonna say, were we bringing up our chase that we did down here in Bridgeville?
Well, I was
for
going
September.
Well, I was going to say, Morgan, do you want to run the Goofy forecast system out to the end of it, just to show how it looks.
No, why not?
Why not, right?
Why not?
Well, with temperatures or with precipitation for the ice storm?
Precipitation.
Yeah. Okay.
There's also we mentioned the Arctic blast earlier, so I'll look at that.
Yeah. Might as well just go into this now. I'm not sure if you guys want to do the whole.
But the reason I said that is because there's either going to be
a nor'easter there.
A winter.
That's the one coming this Sunday.
Winter weather setup across the southeast, or a severe weather setup.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what you were saying earlier. Yeah, you said the other day it was looking like a winter storm, but then today we looked at it and it looks like severe storms possible.
I don't know
that's how crazy models are.
I don't know why I had the sudden instinct to speak French right there, because I just responded to you saying yes in French. Don't ask.
In the Canada, we are always with the French accent, you know.
Yeah, we.
My French teacher's getting the best of me. God.
I took French for 2 years, my brother. So
there you go.
That's real French, though. We don't speak real French. We speak the Franglish. The Canadian French.
Yeah, we have too much of an influence.
It's actually a lot like Cajun, to be honest.
There you go.
So continuing on, you can see high pressure sets over the northeast, which will make for very cold conditions over that area. Potentially even some gusty winds for the region, but temperatures will range in the 20s and 30s at that point for the foreseeable future.
Blast.
There, and that is the Arctic blast, and we'll drop over to
that
temperatures.
Low up there.
And then you can see the high pressure set in over the plains 1035, and that's really what's going to drag all the cold air down towards the ground in that area. You're going to be talking about negative teens for even a high temperature in the middle.
Wind chills are unimaginable at that point.
Wind chills are between negative 40 below and negative
making
50
me cold
below.
thinking about it. Making me cold thinking about it.
I camped in Nova Scotia when there were 50 miles.
See right there how we got that ridge right there.
But ridging down through the Rockies, down towards Texas, and then all the way through.
And then back all the way out to the northeast and mid-Atlantic.
So as that goes along,
you'll see an ice storm.
Right there, that's severe weather.
That's severe weather could be possible.
So that's severe weather for Dixie. Gulf moisture pushes north. You can see there. And then as it gets off towards
another ice storm or snowstorm,
potential ice threat for the northeast, and maybe even some windy rain going up towards the northeast. And we are the kings of that. Christmas Eve was the ultimate windy rain event up and around here.
Oh yeah.
So going forward, you can see maybe some snow behind it as well, as the low
even Halloween was windy down here.
Oh, Halloween, yeah. Halloween was
I think even Thanksgiving. We had like back to back boundaries or frontal systems move through on our holidays here.
So you can see a strong high pressure set in.
Oh, that's going to be very cool.
Yeah, 1045 up there. That's going to be very cold once again. And that sits into the country as 1046. So
and it's creeping closer down too.
Arctic blast. And it just meanders there with a second one. You can see a little bit of precip develops in Texas. Snow threat for Oklahoma, Texas, the Panhandle area.
The Arklatex.
Indeed. Yep. Then as it pushes off towards the Appalachians,
there you go, Alabama.
Out. Yeah, Alabama getting some snow. And then we have what could in the foreseeable future be a very, very impactful storm for the Dixie Alley, Tennessee, Ohio valleys. So as that gets pushed off by Gulf moisture, potentially severe weather in the southeast, and then as you get towards the southern Appalachians into the Carolinas, you may have some ice as well as some snow, eventually pushing out into the Atlantic Ocean, with another high pressure sitting in after that. So the main theme we're getting on with here is Gulf moisture is going to really enhance, as well as the ridging. It's going to enhance some sort of wetter pattern for Dixie Alley going up the East Coast. After those, high pressure could sit in, making it very cold for areas like the northern Great Plains, Midwest,
Ohio, Tennessee valleys,
Yep. And then that would really just cycle for a little bit until we can get really out of that pattern. And until we can get some warmer temperatures, then we could get severe season really starting to go. Severe season looking a little more ominous this year, so definitely have to keep that in mind going forward. But pretty repeating pattern. I don't know what I don't know where I was trying to go there.
We're
Well, I was about to
we're
say,
stuck in this pattern here. If this stays till spring, we got problems.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I was about to say, it's repeating 2010 to 2011.
I was gonna say
what we call like
repetitious, but I don't think that's
a 10-year
word.
cycle. A 10-year cycle, right?
Repetitious is what you were looking for, Morgan. Yeah, and it
Is that an actual word? If
It sure is.
then
Repetitious
let's go.
is the word. Yeah, that's the word.
Let's go. So, repetitious pattern involving a wetter Dixie East Coast, and then a colder pattern for the Northeast.
Easily.
Northern Plains and the Midwest. I am screwing up my
Plains.
northers and mids and stuff. Anything else for the three of you?
Yeah, Kyle, go ahead with with your stuff.
I was gonna say, are we bringing up our whole chase that we did down here with Greg, and going to provide a couple of screenshots and just show that we're going to turn this into the Storm Prediction Center eventually to Rick Smith, one of Josh's contacts out of Oklahoma, the SPC in Norman, Oklahoma, out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if we could, I think Morgan might have all them files pulled up on his share screen.
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Towards the left side here. So I do have all the images that Greg put in the chat. So I'll bring them up here. And what I will do is I'll move you guys off to the left here. And I will put
Morgan,
down. Yeah.
Kind of walk people through what they're seeing, please.
So, my mind just pulsed there for a second. So, what we're talking about in this image, you can see radar and then velocity, which would indicate the wind direction, stuff like that, of the storm in relative to the particular radar site, particularly K Docks, is what we're sitting with right over here. And of course, the
a little bit north
thing
of
is
there.
in the way. Yeah, right.
It's a little bit north of there, I think.
Of Ellendale. Correlation coefficient at the bottom, that would indicate any lifted particles of solid matter into the atmosphere. It could gauge how high something's going. So this is a tool that's particularly used to, well, in October around here, it's usually gauged to see, is it snowing or not? But in this case, it's gauged to see if there's any kind of debris that may be lofted into the air by a particular storm. So if you can actually make sure that somewhere in the center of the storm there is a coordinating well, in this case it would be yellow, green, or blue spot.
A little bit north
you can
of
see
there.
Oh yeah.
You can see the spike right there in the
I was about to say,
yeah.
red is away from radar, green's toward radar.
Yeah, reds are away from the radar, greens are moving towards, and in the middle where they are touching is where you, and then you have a tornado vortex signature right there in coordinates with all the other things showing up on the radar.
And then let me explain here. On, let's see, our top right pane on our velocities, you can see south of Greenwood and in between Bridgeville, we had an inflow notch, which is winds that are moving away from the radar. You can clearly see in the red area on the right hand top pane velocity. Right there.
Yeah, it'd be right in there. So you can even see on the radar.
You can see on reflective. Yeah.
Let me make the color black here really quickly to make it easier visibly.
Kyle, where was y'all at?
Exactly. We're pretty much you see where the eye in Bridgeville is? There's a little red marker. That was our location.
So you guys can see where the lighter precip is. That indicates any wind and energy that can surge into the storm there. Unimpeded inflow, giving the storm energy, and eventually going to shoot it up further into the sky, potentially with an updraft association.
Yep.
So
and then
velocities
on correlation, on correlation, you can see a spike right there as well,
Uh-huh.
shooting out from the radar beam. You can see a linear line shooting out. That means something is breaking that beam, showing us that there's some kind of debris in the air.
Indeed. So, particularly in the center of the storm where the velocities would be
Right where that
associated.
inflow notch was.
Yep. Further screenshots you can see with our with 3D scan capabilities. Particularly, you can see that there are actually the NROT was actually shooting down towards the base and the ground. So with that being said, you can see that NROT's favoring surging winds towards the ground. And the potential, excuse me.
So we basically are trying to say we had a funnel cloud.
At least.
At the least.
Yeah.
Of that big supercell storm that I posted back on September 3rd. I was with Greg, our owner of this group here, United Weather Network. And yeah, this was probably the most miraculous storm I've ever seen on the Delmarva Peninsula. The RFD outburst was ridiculous. We had 60-mile-per-hour winds hit us going through Bridgeville. And like I said, we didn't want to go north because what was behind that wall was what he's showing you on the screen. That's a funnel cloud that was about to touch down. We don't know if it did. The only way to know if it did is if you actually really saw it.
Right
And
there,
you guys
what he
didn't
just...
risk it.
No,
Well,
we didn't have to do that.
I tried to get him to punch it, but that was my first day with that group.
Yeah.
That was your first day.
Yeah, but yeah, I had him in a good spot. I put him
Oh
in
yeah,
a
you
spot.
put us in a great spot, man. You
So
did. It was perfect.
So you can see from
You
the top of the
can
storm.
tell by the pictures.
Oh yeah, you can see from the top of the storm
Oh,
shooting tops into the sky, and particularly associated with the rest of the
you
storm
can
and the
see it
funnel
right
going to
there.
the ground. You can see on velocities.
Look at that
The
inflow notch from the north and the
inflow
east.
right into the center of the storm, causing some spin in and around. And then as you can see on the 3D imagery of it, definitely present there in terms of...
You have two actually.
That one on the left is probably the RFD.
Yeah, that's probably the surging winds from the back coming around, and then the funnel coming down right and around there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and today is National Weather Person's Day.
Yeah,
So we're
and
gonna
then
make
that's
a point of
for-
that.
Yeah, and
make a point of that. Happy meteorologists and everybody.
oh
Rick
yeah,
Smith.
And that's all the winter storm watches right now. We got it from the top of northeastern Georgia all the way up to Massachusetts.
Can
Cape Cod area.
confirm this is outdated. I am in a watch.
Okay.
Oh.
It's outdated, but so you got it now too. That's good.
Yeah.
There you go.
What I will do is
There you
I'll
go.
drag this back to my screen, and I'll go to weather.gov shortly before we wrap everything up here.
Awesome.
Is this actually not outdated? Yes, it is outdated. It's just not showing up. So you can see the winter storm
Okay,
watch
so
is
you're
extending.
all the way up there in that little corner right
Yep.
above New York
I'm
City.
just barely in it. That's great.
Yep, you're just barely in it, and they got me down here. I'm basically where Georgetown is, a little bit right and to the south of that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm in Sussex County. Yeah, we got it. And then what's that? Accomack or Wycomico down there? Wycomico, I think, has it where Salisbury's at.
Oh yeah.
That's Wycomico County. So they're in it
extending
too.
all the way down
so
through Virginia.
we're talking a good swath of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic should see some kind of accumulating snow. Snowfall totals right now are kind of hard to pin down, but I'm going to go north of Dover, probably 4 to 5, 6 inches. And then, like I said, south of like Philly, you're kind of right on that zone to where, like I said, 50 miles can make a difference. 50 miles can make a big difference. Even 15 miles can make a difference.
20 miles. I was about to say 20 miles.
Right.
East or west.
Mm-hmm.
So
To
what I
make a
would,
huge difference where those bands wrap back around.
I also
I
wanted
hate to I hate
Yeah.
to break the weather conversation here. Bruins 2-1.
Oh, lovely.
Oh man.
That's
Just had to
anyhow.
put that in there.
Anyhow. What I would also like to mention in accordance to this, we mentioned last week in our forecasting of Orlena how there was really not a whole lot of higher totals ranging above about 1.5 feet. I would like to mention models are not always right. In this case, I was sitting up here in northeastern Jersey with a forecast of about 18 inches, and I got slammed nearly 2 feet of snow. And particularly, you can't really just rely on models here. What I'm taking into account here is the closer to the temperature gradient you are, basically the closer to the bear's cage, the more precip you're going to get and the more snow you're going to end up getting. Which is why I think areas like Philadelphia, Trenton, and potentially even up towards New York City could see the highest snowfall totals with this. That could range from anywhere from 6 to 12, because truth be told, I don't know myself. There's still a few things that we need to figure out in terms of short-range runs, and we'll come into clearer view as we get towards that would be Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Me and Kyle talked about doing a live to Saturday or maybe Sunday morning.
Yeah, potentially.
So,
Yeah, definitely to update on snowfall totals once we see it come out of the Appalachian mountain range. We'll be able to figure out where the low pressure center's at and be able to figure out snowfall totals.
Tomorrow night might be the time to stream, because truth be told, it's already going to be started by the time we wake up on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, true.
So
we can do
that
it tomorrow night if you want to do a.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Morgan, you in on that?
Yeah, I can do that. So we'll be here.
Yeah, I'll be here for that.
Yeah, we'll be here again tomorrow night with more updates on this as it gets clearer into view. Josh, Kyle, anything else to say? Otherwise, I can wrap this up.
I was just gonna say we welcome Jay aboard and look forward to working with him up there. He's definitely gonna have a lot of good things to tell us from how it is up there with the low pressures coming out of Canada. He can tell us, how much of an intense system it is to watch out down the road, because that's going to track across the Great Lakes towards the, eastern coast here eventually. So it's a big part to have him up north in the good old Great White North.
Good old great, nice use of adjectives there. Yeah, Josh?
I'd like to say, anybody watching, if they got questions, y'all can
reach out to us.
Put it in chat. Reach out to me, Greg, Morgan.
Yeah.
Anybody like that.
Facebook, I got a Twitter, I got my own YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing a lot on this. I'll be doing a lot of updates on this, and I'm going to work on making a Twitter for this stuff as well, so we can get more information out via another source. But I think, yeah.
Well, I was going to say another shit. All right, go ahead.
I don't have anything else to say. I was going to wait on you.
Well, no, promote your channel. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, excuse me. So my channel is Royal NYR54 NYR Caps. I do own my own page. I ran it for 10 months, 9.5 months, something like that. Basically since April. Really just trying to get a feel for weather myself as I grow and learn and begin to explore my potential opportunities for the future in the weather industry, and that's my hope. So I stream there. I do the best coverage to which my mental abilities can, because sometimes I'm just not in it. But if you all want to check out that, I post videos and streams, so we can get eventually rise up in the ranks on that. But if Josh, Kyle, you guys have anything else to say, otherwise we can wrap this up.
I think I'm good, man. I think we
We're all
covered it.
good.
All
I
right.
hope everybody have a good night.
Yeah.
Everyone have a good
Appreciate
night.
y'all
Thanks
tuning
for-
in to this podcast. If you guys did have any suggestions for stuff we can do better, leave a comment in the comment box down below. Otherwise, if you're new here, like and subscribe for more future content as we get bigger on YouTube and other social media platforms as well. Takes time, but we're gonna get there. Just take it one step at a time. So,
That's
with everything being said, my name is Morgan J. Fold. That's Josh and Kyle, and we will see you on the next one.